Right, let us move on. We're going to be looking now at tourism and in particular that theme we're talking about, the new generation, young generation coming through. So I'm delighted to be joined by Tonya Fisher from Weymouth College and some students from Weymouth College. Now let me get this right. This is Chloe and Ethan and Sky and Jacob, and we need to turn this microphone on. I think we're on. Can we just test, is that coming through okay? Yep, good. So Tonya, can I start with you? Say a little bit about sort of the course at college and how it all fits with what we're talking about today.
Okay, so I teach on the BTEC Level 3 Travel and Tourism course at Weymouth College. And we cover many units, but the particular one that we've been involved with, the Note 4, was managing customer experience. So it elaborates a bit more on customer service and looks at the whole customer experience. In particularly the last assignment, they have to review a business and the way that they monitor and review their customer service. So they have to also look at the technology that is used in the business. So this is what we did. We went to the Note Fort back in May, and we did a survey, and we also had a talk with Marianne, and so it was really good. And then they looked at the good practice, and we also looked at the limitations of the business and how it could be improved.
Oh, brilliant. And am I right in thinking we've got a video of that experience? So, shall we run that video now?
Emma. So, welcome. I'm at Note Fort. My name is Marianne Edwards and I'm one of the general managers. I've been here now for about 2 years, and the challenges we've had is we started on the first day of lockdown, and this wonderful building is Victoria Fort. In lockdown, it was closed, and the damp really affected it. You can see how the walls are peeling and how it is looking really tired. We want to do displays, but we can't. We can't put in a display because of the damp, it will be damaged. And what our fantasy is to bring this one to life through media, through digital. It's having someone to help us bridge what's in our imaginations, to actually help us to.
We are doing a customer service assignment for our college, and in our assignment we need to see what the Note Fort do and how we think they could improve and what they can bring to their attraction to bring more people. And we've just been walking through just now we've been walking through the bunker and seeing what displays they have. We've also been introduced here. We spoke to the manager?
Yeah, 3 managers.
We spoke to 3 managers on just how they run their organisation.
Like more QR codes, more like video, like visual, like interactive stuff, or like little like toys or something, like where you
moving
can,
around. Yeah, that'd be cool. Or like VR experiences, or I don't know, sound effects, lighting can always make a difference to an experience as well.
And having it in like chronological order, so we know what's what's going on and how it like went on in time.
So I think it'd be like way more helpful if you could interact with it, have an audio guide, like incorporate the other stuff they've used.
I think that their target market they aren't hitting. I believe that their target market that they are hitting is just elderly and just people that are interested in history. But I think to widen the target market, they could include more like interactive things in the exhibits and more technology to bring down the target market for younger people, so they can understand more and it's more interactive and more entertaining for them.
Yeah, because I feel like we expect like technology and more interactive stuff during the tour, whereas it's all just signage. So I feel like if they were to add that in, it would attract younger people and everything.
Oh, the corgis, yeah.
Corgi there.
It's the water tower.
So for the, is it Platinum Jubilee?
Yeah, I think
For
so.
the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, they've done this interactive thing where it's a bit fun, where you can find the corgis.
Corgi. Two corgis. Corgi there. Corgi there.
I've had a blast finding the corgis. It's interesting, like, no offense, it's interested me way more than the actual attractions itself.
I'd just like to say thanks to Weymouth College. It's amazing how hard they work with the young people to use local community venues, and we really appreciate it. And we will be using their feedback. They're giving us quality feedback to help us improve. So thanks to them, and of course thanks to Future Fest. Back to the studio.
Brilliant, brilliant. So just finishing there with Mary-Ann from No Thought, who's in the audience, So I think around the table here, that was the first time some of you had seen the video, and Jacob, you were hoping that some of it had been edited out, perhaps. But the team here are available for autographs after this production. So I've also been joined on the table. So we've got students. We've got Tonya from Weymouth College. We've got John Bird here, who heads up Dorset Council's tourism team, who are going to be very interested in this conversation and your views. And we're also joined by Dr. Phil Wilkinson from Weymouth University, who, Phil, is that you sort of connect technology? So the technology we're going to be talking about, that's your bag, isn't it?
Yes, that is my bag. So I teach critical technology studies, which means thinking about technology in context. So as Wayne mentioned earlier, to try and make us not get so hung up on technology and start thinking about, how do we use it, what purposes behind it, what are the implications of it, like is it accessible, what infrastructure we need, and that kind of thing. So I was actually there filming, and I did actually edit the video for this, so I'm very sorry for doing that to you. And I hosted the students on campus as well to have a follow-up where I went over emergent technologies like VR, AR, gamification, that kind of thing, and really kind of drilling into the students to think about less about innovative technologies, but more about innovative application of technologies, old and new. And I was actually super, super thrilled and really impressed by the students and the ideas they came up with, because they had a really, really good, strategic sense of what technologies can be used. So
should we have a listen to what the students did come up with? And then, Phil, we will come back to you at the end, I think, because you've probably got some views on that question we had earlier about education and the like. So, Jacob, you've got the star spot. Okay. Do you want to do it in order? Should we do it in order? So we have
we've come up with 3 main recommendations, and this is not just from our survey, but also since we went to Bournemouth University and had a proper afternoon learning with Phil. So we've decided on 3 recommendations, and then we've got a wish list for
for John.
For the no for and for John, yes. So I'm going to go over to the students. So if I can just go to Chloe first. So that's recommendation number 1.
Yeah, so recommendation 1 is improved Wi-Fi so that it can be accessible areas of the fort. because some of us did struggle to connect with the Wi-Fi when we were there, so if it was improved, it might be easier for other people to access.
And that leads on to our second and third recommendations, because what we felt with any technology, it needs good, strong Wi-Fi throughout all areas of the attraction. So our second recommendation was...
No? Okay. So the second recommendation was to use QR codes in selected display rooms, and it would link to online timed quiz and games. And we learnt this from Phil at Weymouth University about gamification and how it engages the younger audience. So the QR codes would require visitors to find clues or information in each room, and it'd be timed, and the scores would be saved and leaderboarded, so prizes could be won each day. And the benefits of this it wouldn't require any changes to the room, so more people would be engaged and it would enhance the customer experience.
All right. Our third recommendation also focuses on what Phil has taught us at the university, and he's focused on the visual gauge, so how tourists present the attraction as themselves and how they're experiencing the attraction. And lots of places have had this where they can have photo booths or just certain areas where you can sort of have a dress up or sort of like just photos taken and sort of have a mess around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And lots of places have done this. Warner Brothers Studios, the Museum of Ice Cream.
In New York.
Yeah, and in New York, yeah.
And the other one?
I can't read.
Yeah, don't worry.
And the wish list, there are 3 things on here. The first one was to improve the ghost tunnel because it's currently just a dark corridor, so we suggested adding scary noises, dry ice to create a mist effect, or have projections on the wall of ghosts. The second was to have better signage and maps around the attraction, because when volunteers aren't out to direct visitors, it isn't clear where to start and finish. And to change the order of rooms because they're currently in non-chronological order, so we suggested them being presented in the timeline or just focusing on one storyline rather than having stuff about like the Romans and Maiden Castle, which wouldn't necessarily be relevant to the North Fort and its history.
Good.
But, Marianne, do you want to, I'm not sure if there's enough room on the seat. So this is slightly unscripted, but do you want to, these sound like very good suggestions. What's your thought?
Can I thank everyone for the hard work of Weymouth College? That's absolutely fantastic. We're making notes, but could you pass them over to us?
I will. I've got some for you.
No fort. Today we've been focusing on the beachfront and on the tourists coming to the beach. But you know, if it's windy or if it's rainy, we don't want people to get in their cars and drive over to Dorset or Monkey World or the Tank Museum. We want to keep the money in the town. And No Fort very clearly understands that we're a visitor attraction, we need to survive, but we need to support the town. And it's that working together that is so important. The fort, as I said, has a lot of damp, and we have put in a large grant application. We're hoping we're through to the second round to actually resolve our damp problems, and then we can move forward with our displays. And actually, what you've said is brilliant. It's what we thought, it's our worst fears, but you've articulated it. And we have a new young team that we have just recruited for our displays and for our events, and we shall take it forward, but we'd like to do it in partnership with you.
Yes.
We don't want to translate your ideas, we'd like to deliver your ideas. So thank you very much, Weymouth College, for that. And Bournemouth University, if I could pitch also to work with you, that would be amazing, to be able to deliver it. We think easily, we've won the best visitor attraction in England because of our community and because of the customer service we do, but we are not a first-class visitor attraction. When you come there, it is text-based. We could easily and quickly transform it through technology to make it so much more fun and accessible. Weymouth deserves first-class quality experiences, and we want in the next couple of years to actually make that something that Weymouth are proud of, rather than them all being in Dorset or around the county.
Brilliant. Good pitch, taking the opportunity there, well done. So if only we had the council's lead on tourism available. John.
Thank you. It was great to hear those ideas. I was pleased to hear that they were not only about enhancing the visitor experience when the visitors are actually at the fort, but also looking to spread the word, especially the idea about the photo booths and things like that. If the visitors themselves are providing publicity for future visitors, that's not only a great way to save some money in advertising, but also there's a lot of credibility when real visitors are giving real opinions about the site. I loved as well that all of them were very practical measures. None of them needed millions and millions of pounds to deliver, except possibly the Wi-Fi, because I'm not an expert in forts, but they tend to have fairly thick walls. Wi-Fi doesn't like thick walls, generally speaking, but there's things we can do about that. It was also very interesting to see how digital wasn't being treated on its own, but it was about how people connect with digital and digital connects with people. And I'm always just blown away how students at Further Education College today are so much more productive than I was when I was there.
Brilliant, really helpful, and thanks for that feedback. So Phil, can we come to you, say a little bit more about some of the work that you've been doing, and then we'll sort of branch the conversation out into sort of tech skills, and we want to sort of be interested in your views about sort of learning about tech skills beyond tourism. So
Yes, absolutely. So I think I'm in a, not to elevate myself, a slightly privileged position because my background is computer science. So I was trained to be a software engineer initially. And then I kind of transitioned into education, both being an educator and also researching education. So the past few years, I've actually worked across Dorset in various different community clubs, community spaces, libraries, schools, colleges, from Portland all the way to kind of Southport. And one of the things I keep hearing from all of those different spaces is they want to be delivering these kind of skills. They want to be running coding clubs and teaching sessions, and colleges are saying this as well. So there's this kind of tragic irony in how we talk about digital skills sometimes, where we say it's a skill shortage and it's really affecting employers. But schools, libraries, colleges are having the same skill shortage on their end as well. So it's almost like collectively we're all kind of facing this skill shortage. And I think the one reason I wanted to talk about this now is I think there's a really good opportunity for kind of bringing those skills together. So just like North 4 has requested the kind of expertise of the young students from Weymouth College, how can we translate that going forward? So we have the coding day, which is fantastic as a teaser for here's coding as an introduction, but can we get those devs who volunteered to commit for, one day a month or to make it more sustainable? I think that's the way we can really address that skill shortage, by kind of all of us being together and being in the conversation.
Yeah, good. So let's, can I hand over to our students? Jacob, can I come to you?
Yeah,
So,
that's fine.
do you want, just that general sense, so one that you probably heard from the audience earlier, that sense of how do we develop skills locally, encourage students to stay rather than perhaps leave the brain drain that Wayne Hemingway talked about. What's your sense of that? And maybe a personal story if you've got one.
Well, I think teaching technology, you can always start that from a very young age, and you can sort of integrate what children are interested in at a young age. And I remember from a very young age, they used to start a scheme. They got us started with this really simple coding. So it's not like all the written code. It's you put these blocks down, and then this thing, the little cartoon character, will do a thing. And that sort of it makes children interested, and it builds that creativity as well, because the blocks are limitless. You can do anything. And then when you grow up, if you carry on with this interest, you can go into further coding, which I tried to, and it's a bit boring. But if they genuinely develop a passion over it, it does create more opportunities for them in their life, I think.
Brilliant. Phil, can I come back to you? Because one of the phrases that was used was gamification. And I think Jacob's just sort of touched on that in terms of his own kind of development. Can you just explain a little bit more about gamification? What that is?
So the corgis in the video is a really good example of gamification. It is all about gamifying, adding a kind of playful, fun layer to an experience. Whether that's something like as simple as you buy 9 copies, you get the 10-3, and there's some kind of point system or trophy system, or it's just kind of making it a kind of fun, engaging, narrative-driven experience. So
Okay.
making it fun.
Yeah. Is that something you can relate to then, Jacob?
Obviously from the video, yes. But I don't want to say the attraction wasn't boring. I felt really bad saying that. It wasn't boring. I was interested in some of the attraction, but my more childlike nature did take over me, and I was looking for corgis half the time.
Yeah.
But I was reading through the information, and a lot of the information was very interesting. But no, I really did enjoy the attraction, and I think the inclusion of that, it hooks children, it makes them want to go around the attraction more. Just these little things that children are attracted to, it brings more, or bring families to the attraction. It just makes it fun.
Okay, brilliant. So we've got the opportunity for questions from the audience. Well, we've got a panel of students and from education as well. While the audience think of their questions, can I come to you, Sky? So one of the things we're talking about, your personal future, do you see there are opportunities? Are you sort of Weymouth local? Do you sort of live in this area? What do you think the opportunities are? How do you imagine that your sort of future job opportunities around here, for example?
I think that because of we're younger generation, we've grown up with technology, so we're kind of used to it and we like it and everything. And back to Jacob, when you're a child, they teach you in a fun way, but then when you hit secondary school, it's all the important and serious stuff, which makes it seem boring, like Jacob said. So maybe it turns people away from those kind of jobs. So I don't think personally I'd go into those types of jobs because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I think if we had more learning opportunities and everything, it would maybe create more jobs for us.
Okay, so there's something about the way that technology is taught.
Yeah.
Phil, can I come to you on that? If it's great at primary school, not so good at secondary school, by the time they get to university, how's it taught?
So this is the kind of funny situation, and some of the devs that volunteered, the developers who volunteered for the coding day shared some of the experiences where the stuff I learned at university is what is being taught to students at 10, 12, 13 years old, which is really intimidating for me, but fantastic for them. I think part of the challenge is, again, if you want to teach specialist technical skills, you need educational specialists to do it, and there's a bit of a lack of them. And the other thing as well is, it is sometimes quite dry and quite boring, and sometimes it's quite hard to make that fun. And also, if we keep talking about digital skills and coding and higher level digital skills, we don't actually need everyone to learn those skills. Not everyone needs to be a developer, not everyone needs to be a coder. There's a baseline level of skill we kind of need people to use, which is, using Microsoft Office and maintaining a computer, but not everyone needs to be developers, even though we'd like them to be more.
Okay, so that's really helpful. Let's just sort of bring those themes together then. So what we've seen is a real practical application of how technology could be used to enhance an experience that dates back hundreds of years, at the fort. And we've heard about kind of the education and tourism side. So I think that's been really, really useful. Thank you ever so much for your time today and all the work you've done. I think this panel deserves a round of applause.